Markets are up big for the day. Looks like the markets loved the election yesterday. S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 up big. Bonds are up a little bit. Gold is down. You're listening to Charting Wealth's Daily Review for Thursday, the 8th of November, 2018. Let's jump into this. We see the S&P 500 so far we have forming a green open box candle, particularly after today's strong upward movement. Long wick on top, little wick on the bottom. Price has popped way through everything, pushed through the 2-day and the weekly trend line. That's pretty significant at this point. The derivative oscillators losing downward momentum after gaining it over the prior 4 weeks, and the price percent oscillators headed up. We go from the weekly to the 2-day. We see on the 2-day that we're going into our third strong up candle. In fact, so far, the first day of this latest candle, the biggest, pushing through the weekly trend line quite strongly. Hasn't crossed over yet. Of course, you don't call a candle till it's fully formed, and that won't be till the close of the market on Thursday. But the derivative oscillator's already flipped over. Looks like the 2-day is going to be pushing through unless there is a huge pullback on Thursday. And we go to the 4-hour chart. What do we see? Well, it crossed over going up in the morning of the 31st, Wednesday the 31st, and then went up for another day or so sideways and then took off again. And over the course of the past day, up big in the morning and the afternoon, some exuberance there in the market. We'll see how long that lasts, but again, significant. We go from the S&P 500 to the Qs up 3.06%. Not quite as big a candle as we see there, but again, pushing through for the week. That strong weekly trend line, derivative oscillator losing momentum. Price percent oscillator is pretty much flat on that weekly chart. We go to the 2-day chart. Not as close to crossing as the S&P is, but again, could happen over the course of the day on Thursday. We'll keep our eye on that. Price movement has pushed through the weekly trend line also so far, halfway through that 2-day candle. And the 4-hour chart, again, similar somewhat to the S&P, up for a couple of days starting on the 31st and then actually sideways and down. And then around the 6th, really started moving up. So don't have a trade at this point on the Qs or the S&P 500. We'll see how long this strong up movement is going to go on and how much it will recover after all of those losses. The exuberance could go on for a while, could be lost soon. Guess what? We're going to let the charts lead us. We're going to watch them, and they will tell us what to do. You want to know more about what we do, of course, you can purchase our book. You'll see the video in the show notes, and you'll also see links to purchase the book. And also just start taking our training. We'll have some great trainings at the end of today's video. If you're listening to our podcast on audio, of course, all of you, just go to the website chartingwealth.com and you can find all the trainings right there. And you can sign up and be a subscriber to our daily email that goes out, including all of our daily market reviews, our weekly market review, and all the special trainings we put out. Let's go to TLT 20-year bonds up 0.14%. Bonds still in a strong down move, at least as far as the candlesticks goes. Looks completely different from the stocks. Price movement is below the weekly trend line and just holding below the 2-day trend line. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, but that price percent oscillator is still stroking down. We see on the 2-day chart crossed over going down back on the 2nd, and we have a spinning top, well, almost a doji right now. That's lots of indecision tending up. You can see how price movement is pushed through the 2-day trend line, still below the weekly, and that is just the first day of the latest 2-day candle. We look at that 4-hour chart. What do we see? Well, didn't have enough energy to push through the 4-hour the PPO, the price percent oscillator, forgive me, derivative oscillator did flip over. So we saw strong up movement in the morning, bit of a pullback in the afternoon, for the day up 0.14%. So we'll keep our eye on things. Want to see a crossover and a good pullback before we look at jumping into a down move, although we're primed for that with the 2-day and the weekly in confirmed down moves. Lastly, we go to gold. What do we see going on there? Well, gold down for the day 0.03%. Remember, the weekly is in a confirmed up move on gold. We had 2 strong weeks, the week ending the 19th and the 26th of October. And these last weeks, Gold seems to be topping out on that weekly chart. Derivative oscillator's flat, price percent oscillator still going up, not as strongly as it had been. We look at that 2-day chart. Hasn't crossed over going down, but looks like it's headed that way. Derivative oscillator losing momentum, price percent oscillator heading down. Candles are weak, sliding sideways, tending down with a doji and then a spinning top so far for that first day of the latest 2-day candle. We go to the 4-hour chart, and it continues down. So again, if we have a crossover going up on that 4-hour chart at some point, we're still primed to jump into gold. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. We'll keep the powder dry. That might be the next trade that we have possible with all the up movement going on in the stocks right now. So we'll keep our eye on gold as well as everything else. And again, great trainings available for you at chartingwealth.com. We'll have some attached to the video at the end of today's broadcast. Please be sure to take those, and also take those PDFs that we have available, the daily market worksheet, weekly market worksheet, and trade worksheets. Download those, print them out, use them as often as you can. We have great videos. I'm going to include one of those also that teaches you how to use those. Today's feature will be the daily market worksheet. Thanks so much for being with us, my friends. God bless from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.